Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Vinny D. First official PlayStation 4 top 100 career leaderboards. Actually unofficial, but this is the way the leaderboard should look like. So this is the first video for PlayStation 4. I won't bore you guys with details. This is not about gameplay footage or anything like that. This is purely stats, going over the leaderboards, trending. I'll give you guys a quick recap. This is week 1 of our stats. I started with Xbox One. We're in week 3. So obviously the first week is kind of boring for you guys, as you could see here. A little bit how it works. I'll give you a brief rundown. It's basically extract the top 100 players excluding boosters. All right, this is the way it should look like. Should your rank be included without boosters being displayed on the leaderboards? It's done once a week right now, and then obviously I go through the manual process of adding this through Photoshop, which is a pain in the ass, but I'm working on having a tool done in a couple of weeks. It's going to be automated for me. Nice graphical interface. And what I want to show you guys over time is, trending, have historical data on the weeks and how things have changed over the course of the game over the year. So again, I've started for Xbox 3 weeks ago. This is week 1 of PlayStation 4. Obviously, I had some people who wanted it, so I had to come through here for the top 100. It takes me a little bit of time, but I think it's well worth it. I just want to go over a couple of things before we get cracking here. Is looking over the boosters over here, not that bad. I mean, PlayStation 4 only has 6 boosters in the top 10. Xbox has 7, so around the same thing, and you guys only have 13 boosters in the top 100. So obviously they stick out like a sore thumb. They don't even merit to be viewed. Obviously I read them out here so that they don't get the recognition. There's a couple of them here I wasn't sure about. Forever Shredded at a 616 SPM. I mean, he's a head scratcher. You guys could let me know. What, I don't know him. I don't know much about his footage. I guess, again, I'm new to PlayStation 4, so you guys could shed some light on that. However, I see the way things broken down, and I look at it like, if you're anything over 600, I have a hard time believing it. There's some type of stuff going on here. I mean, he could be legit. Again, I'll take your word on it, but for right now, he's been excluded. I mean, that's 616 is just, it's hard to believe. I mean, anything over 500 is already elite level. When you're 400, you're amazing. 500 is elite, but 600, it's like, I'd have to see it to believe it. So there's a little bit on how it works. Obviously, they've been extracted from the leaderboards, and then compiling what a true leaderboard should look like is this. All right. Now, if we go over to what the leaderboard will eventually look like, I'm showing you guys the Xbox One as a little example here. Obviously, after 3 weeks, is that same concept as the as PlayStation. We remove the boosters, and then what we do though is we can look at the trending and the previous week. So we're comparing, what the weeks are going to look like. Obviously, you don't have that; it's only week 1. But as you can see, the current ranks, where they were ranked the previous week. If they're heading up and down, and if people weren't ranked, and then all of a sudden they jumped into the top 100. So that's a little bit how the leaderboards are going to look like in the long run. The short term, obviously, like I said, it's week 1, so this is how it looks like. DooMTheRace, Hami, we know, the the PlayStation 4s are fired up 24/7. It's a business, right? They're grinding and they're doing what they need to do. Staying organized, it's a business, so they belong. Props to them for keeping it up. I mean, if you could say, account sharing and some people do it on their own, that's your own opinion, but for them it's a business. Staying organized, keeping on top of things, it's not easy, so they merit. They're not doing anything wrong. They're clearly on top. It's going to be good to see the race between Hami and Doom there at the top. So we'll see a little bit of a drop off after, from around 4 million points. So there's a little bit of catching up to do, but I'm not saying that it won't be done over time. Again, this is just week 1. We've got a long way to go. I think the cool thing to look at is, obviously, like I said, I have the top 100 here, and what I'll do is I'll recap. I'll try to get over everybody and give everybody a chance over the weeks. As time goes by and more stats come in, we'll be able to see who's moving up, who's moving down. Obviously, as I mentioned before, 500 plus SPM, I consider that elite. You know, you've got your obvious players like your K3. You know, you've got Cash here at 23. You've got Cherokee here at 31. I mean, obviously, they put in the time like they always do, and they keep their SPMs up. You know, they're hard to catch, and it's just going to be great to see how things pan out and how they climb the leaderboards. Obviously, because they have the skills, and that's not taking away anything. Why I wanted to create this board is to give props out to the guys who are on the lower tier side of things, who just, you know, put in the grind and the hours, and their SPM's just not there, and they're just not quitting and keeping up at it. And a good race going on right now is 19, 20, 21. Hunt, Diablo, and Smoke. If you could see here, their SPM's a little bit lower, you know, than the top players. However, they're putting in the time, they're putting in the days. So we'll see, you know, what transitions coming forward. You know, if these guys are able to keep it up. Obviously, there's a lot more work to be done, but it's cool to see, you know, top 50 guys like that with a lower SPM putting in time and, you know, still hanging around. And now I've been on it for 3 weeks, so I could tell you that there's a lot of change that happens. You know, you guys might look at it through the Xbox Live and, you know, look at your weekly stats, but when you're able to compare from week in and week out, you really get to see, you know, on who's pushing, who's grinding, and that's the amazing thing about it, and that's what I hope to bring to you guys every week going forward. So another thing I noticed here is if we scroll down, obviously I'm going to have a screenshot of this. I'll host it somewhere, and you guys could go and take a look at it at your own time. If we look at the top 60, from 60 to 100, some cool things I've noticed here is that, you know, there's lower SPMs, but there's higher times. There's longer days played, which means these are the true grinders right here that work the leaderboards. Will they ever make top 50? You know, probably not. Maybe they will if they keep grinding, but you just look at, it's amazing how you could see the top 60 here, and a lot of the SPMs drop off under 4, but the time is up, and that's hard, you know, like mentally challenging to keep yourself going, you know, keep yourself playing for the amount of days when you know that you need double the work that somebody like an elite player does. So it's great to see, you know, it's good motivation for you guys that are trying to crack the top 100, to let you guys know how far off you are, you know, by looking at these numbers here and seeing these guys, you know, with lower SPMs, however, putting in the time and, you know, pushing. So again, this is just week 1, guys. This is not going to be around footage. This is going to be hosted through a website. I'm building the tool up. Everything starts somewhere, and this is, you know, as weeks go by, it'll be clearer for you guys on trends and seeing, you know, what's moving, what's going up, what's coming down, who's putting in the time, and that's pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I usually extract the stats on Sunday night. By the time I get everything populated, I usually get a video up on Wednesday, and going forward, like I said, it'll be much easier for me once everything's built and I don't have to manually extract everything. All right, guys, so enjoy the week, and I'll speak to you next week.